Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn about macros. So what are macros in Rust? Macros just generate code underneath the hood, just that. But now there are some crazy terms with related to macros like meta programming, transcribers, matchers, fragment specifier, meta variables. Uh, then there are lots of fragment specifiers like ident block, statement, expression, token type, and a lot of them. So, and then there are glyphs. So first of all, let's go one by one. Now, what is meta programming? Meta programming is basically it just means meta programming just means code that writes code, like code. It's just code that writes code. That's all. Now, what are transcribers? Transcribers define the output of the macro. Wait a second, guys. First of all, we need to cover matchers before transcribers. My bad. Yeah. So, what are matchers? Matchers define the input of the macro. Matchers can be either these brackets or these square brackets, or they can be these curly braces. Let me show you an example of these. So have you seen the vec macro? It's using the curly brackets, it's using the square brackets patcher, and the print line macro is using the brackets matcher. Now, what are transcribers? They define the input, they define the output of the macro. Anything except a matcher in that curly block, in that curly braces. I'll show you. In a curly brace of a macro is a transcriber. This doesn't make sense, but it will, trust me. So what is a meta variable? Meta variable just it's just a variable that holds code. So it's a variable that just holds code, and I'll show you. We're gonna make a macro. Now, what are fragment specifier? Wait a second. Meta variable are variables that hold code. Meta variables are variables that hold code. Now, what is a fragment specifier? Fragment specifier is basically a type for a meta variable. Like you give the primitive types are i32. Then there is i32 basically means 32-bit integer. Then there is string, the borrowed string, basically a string type. Then there are strings, there are bool in Rust. There are the primitive types. Fragment specifier is basically type for a meta variable. Glyphs are something which are not meta variable, and they are actually the part of a macro. I'll show you. So now we're gonna make a small macro here. We're gonna name that macro. So this is how you define a macro. Let me just you have to write macro rules, and macro rules itself is a macro. See how we're putting the explanation out. Then the name of the macro. You can name anything to your macro. Just name it anything. We're gonna name it hello, the hello macro. No, we're gonna make something more interesting with this. So what are we gonna do is we're gonna make a macro which will implement a hello function, on a struct. So let's do this. So we're gonna make a macro named impl hello. Okay. Then we're gonna, I actually forgot the, wait a second, guys. it's actually good to write this because I never, yeah, got it. Okay. So implement we're gonna name it implement hello func. Then we're gonna give this is the matcher here, guys. Remember the matcher, and anything inside this curly brace is a transcriber. Anything inside this curly brace is a transcriber. So we're gonna have this is the meta variable. This is how we declare a meta variable. We declare it using a $sign, name, and the fragment specifier here, writing fs as a short form. And also when we use it, we're going to use it using the exclamation mark in the macro. For example, I'm using it like this in the macro. I'll have to use the exclamation mark for that. Okay, so we're gonna name the variable s. So it's gonna take a struct, and the struct will be tt, a token type. I think it's a token type. There are lots of fragments specified, guys. You'll have to read the docs for that, but I'll make another video, a separate video on them, explaining each one by one. So then I'll just do this implement on, and I'm gonna make a fn hello self, or just leave self. It's not gonna be it's gonna be associated function. It's gonna return nothing. It's gonna print out hello from the macro. Right, so let's make a struct now. Struct is gonna be a foo struct, empty struct, and we're gonna have a bar struct. So now I can just do implement, and I can just give it a type. The type is gonna be foo, and it's gonna be bar. Yes. So now if I go over here, oh my bad guys. My bad, sorry. Alright, so we're gonna do, what's the problem? Do you see that? And bar can also say hello, and foo is also saying hello. Let's do something else. We're gonna add a name. A name is gonna be an expression, and we're gonna give the name here. Wait a second. Hello from alright. In this case, this is a glyph, guys. This thing is a glyph. Let me show you how a glyph works. So we're gonna say the name foo, and here also we're gonna say bar. No, let's just go in the terminal and cargo run. Second cd into macros and cargo run. Hey, there we go. We just created a macro that prints hello. Pretty simple, right? So what are glyphs? We're gonna add something, guys. Check this out. They are actually the part of the macro. Like if I add something like this, like this over here. Wait a second. If I add this over here, so check this out. It's a glyph. I need to remove this. I need to add this. Check this out. Can you see that? It's a glyph. I can also do it something like this. I would need to add 2 of them in order to work. So that's how it's something that is not a meta variable, but it's a part of a macro, guys. I may have started a lot, but I'm trying my best to explain you all, and I'm gonna make a separate video on these types, explaining one by one them. You can check the docs if you want to learn more about them before my video comes. But for now, see you later, and make sure to like and subscribe.